So that was some presentation. Sojanya, you rocked. Folks, picture this. A young student appearing for the second year final examinations of university. 3 papers have gone excellently well. 4th paper, 1 hour down, brilliantly answering the paper, filling answer sheet after answer sheet. After a while, gets a tap on the shoulder, looks up, sees somebody glaring down, and this guy says, "Son, I need you to come out." This guy goes out. The gentleman says, after showing a paper, "Is this yours?" He says, "It is." A small piece of paper with his handwriting. And then this guy is given a small piece of form and he's asked to sign that form. This guy signs the form to find out later, the next day, this meant that he was caught copying by the Unfair Means Committee and he had to pay a price by 2 years. He finds himself nowhere for no mistake of his just because a chit of paper about his handwriting was found around. Scenario 2, a young couple married go for the honeymoon in Goa, having a good time, 2 evenings, yes, Goa, having a good time, 2 evenings beautifully spent. One of these evenings, as they were having dinner, they were approached by a very handsome young man, and this guy says, "Sir and ma'am, I'd like to invite you to the opening of a new hotel, a 5-star property which has just come up in Goa, outside the city, almost 45 minutes, and this is your invitation. Our general manager would also like to talk to you." They go there next day. They are in an interaction with the general manager. They're having a good look around the restaurant, the resort, and this guy, the young gentleman who's just been married, he is introducing himself. He says, "I'm a part of an organization. I just got a job as a manager of a timeshare hospitality company." All of a sudden, the general manager, a British guy, gets up, glaring, shouting down, calls his ushers, the security guards, and says, "Throw these 2 people out of the hotel because they have come here to steal our secrets." This young married couple on honeymoon is thrown outside in Goa, 45 minutes outside the city, left nowhere to go without any support. Scenario 3, a successful coach, a speaker, a trainer is invited by one of the world's leading companies, an IT major, and he's been asked to become a part of a certification program which would run 10 days in the presence of almost 40 people from different countries, all with experience that was enough for his age. Somebody 30 years, somebody 40 years of experience, the biggest names in the world. They are put up in the best hotel in Singapore, and they have to go to the office in a car, a limo. Multiple of them were deployed for them. He tries to enter one car, the doors close on his face. Second car, the door closed on his face. Third car, the same thing. He was left without a car, took a taxi, went to the office, got through the day for the training, and nobody was willing to sit around him. He had his lunch all alone. Next day, the same thing. Third day, he had broken down. He called up his wife and tells the wife that, "I'm going to come back." The penalty for not completing the certification was a whole $10,000, which he did not have. But he told his wife, "I'm going to come back." The reason? He was being racially discriminated against. People did not call him by name. They said, "We would not sit in a car which has got an Indian in the car. We will not sit with an Indian on the dining table because he's a black man. We will not eat with this guy. We will not be in the same elevator going down the floors because this guy is an Indian." He was left nowhere, called his wife, weeping, broken down, wanted to come back. But then what happened to all these 3 people? Did they really finish their careers? Did the marriage continue with struggle? Did that guy continue or left the college? Or this guy continued in his profession? Well, they continued because they understood something called the 3 steps. Some time back when I was coaching one of the world's leading IT companies, I had an interaction with one of the founders of the company, and the interaction went on and forth, and it was a beautiful interaction. I'd asked the question to the founder of this company, "You are one of the world's biggest entrepreneurs. You are one of the richest men in the world. What are the secrets to your success?" He shared a mail and said, "I do not have a secret up my sleeve. All that I have are 3 steps that I have followed to reach where I have reached." And this guy reads the mail, the 3 steps. Step number 1, he was very excited, reading that there's something coming. Step number 1 said, "Know where you want to go And this guy, a coach, was not amused. He said, well, goal setting is my job. You're asking me something that I already know for centuries now. Number two, he was very unexcited, wanted to just, shut the laptop down. But number two, he thought, let me see number two, something might happen. But before number two came, there was a small slide that happened which said, probably 99.8% of people in the world would know of these three steps, but, and the sentence was incomplete. He thought something is coming, really nice. Number two was, know the price you'll have to pay to reach where you want to go. Know the price. And this guy got a little intrigued. What is this? Number one, know where you want to go. Number two, know the price. And you are writing 99.8% people in the world would know of these three steps. He thought nothing is happening. Let me wind this mail up and get on to my job. He quickly goes on to step number three. But before step number three happened, the sentence that was incomplete. What did it say? Probably 99.8% of people in the world would know of these three steps. But the sentence got completed. It said, but only 0.2% people in the world follow step number three. Till that time, I thought that this is okay. Let me check what is step number three. But again, when I scroll down, step number three did not happen. You know what came? A value add came. It was not the Pareto's principle, 80-20. It is nothing that I had seen anywhere. A statement was kept there, completing the previous one, starting something else, which said probably 99.8% people follows, would know these steps. 0.2 follows step number three. And that is the reason only 0.2% of the people in the world, these 0.2% people in the world, they control 90% of the global economy. Folks, 90% of the global economy is controlled by 0.2% people in the world because according to that gentleman, they follow step number three. You know what was step number three? Pay the price. Pay the price, which is so difficult. And at that point of time, I didn't realize that paying the price is something really exciting. But then later I realized what happened to the first guy. Chucked out of his college. 5 years he took to finish his graduation. The number two, the couple, thrown out by a Britisher in his own country. Number three, ostracized because this guy was an Indian. These three did something magical, and they did this 3-point formula. They followed everything to the T, because paying the price means two things. You got to go deep, you got to go wide. Going deep, you might be aware of the proverbial story of the black bamboo seed. You sow the black bamboo seed, you wait for a year, nothing sprouts. You wait for second year, nothing comes out. You keep watering for 5 years, nothing comes out. But all of a sudden, at the end of the 5th year, something sprouts out of the ground, and within a matter of 4 to 8 weeks, something that was not even present 8 weeks back grows to a height of 100 feet after 5 years. So what was it doing for the previous 5 years? It was digging its roots down, keeping the foundation strong. So it dug deep. These three people, they dug deep to get the foundation strong. But then they also had to do something big. They had to go wide. The world's tallest trees are in California. I visit there often for my clients. In California, the world's tallest trees, a species called the giant sequoia, it grows 350 feet above ground. An average height is 350 feet, weighing several hundred tons, surviving beyond 2,500 years. It's known the average giant sequoia is older than the Jesus Christ. In California, which is a fault line, many earthquakes happen there. Many storms, thunderstorms, they come there, but they are standing tall for 2,500 years. Can you guess the depth of the roots of this giant sequoia species? The 100 feet tall black bamboo had roots 100 feet underground. The 300 feet high giant sequoia, the depth of the roots, 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet or more. 300 feet or more. More? Nope. Neither 100, 2 or 3. The average height is between 6 feet and 12 feet. And they're standing tall for the last 2,500 years. How? Well, the only way they do this is when they go inside, they go wide. They're hatching and catching the roots of the neighboring tree. They do this for the entire area. This tree is holding the next tree, doesn't allow it to fall down. The entire forest is holding each other strong, not allowing anyone to fall down. That is what these three people did. They allowed themselves to dig deep, create a foundation, networked like crazy, became so strong, they came back and won the world. So what happened to the number one guy who was thrown out of the college? What happened to him? He was invited by the same university. 4.5 years down the line, once he finished his program, he got invited by the university to join their program, and he was told, you got to conduct our most successful program for the next 8 years. He was invited to do that. He was the course director of 2 of the world's most popular programs, that on communication in English, and launched a 6-month program on personal effectiveness. A boy who was thrown out by the Unfair Means Committee, who was told you cannot do anything here, ended up becoming a coach, a lecturer, one of the course directors in that very same university. The couple who were thrown out by a British national, you know what they did? They decided we'll do something even better. You threw us out of a hotel in our own country. We'll come back and we'll work with you. The guy who was thrown out went on to become the first founding dean of London Creatives, an Indian becoming the dean of London Creatives. The lady who was thrown out is now a consultant on many organizations, many MNC companies, a lot of them having headquarters in the UK and the US. Being thrown out got them to do something spectacular. They dug deep, created a foundation. They networked like crazy, learned things, the ways of the world, rose up, stepped on, did amazing work. And the third guy, the Indian, who was booed, who was jeered, who was called an Indian, not even allowed to sit with everyone else, well, he became one of the founding members of a global company. Today, he is a part and a partner of 4 companies with footprints in 72 countries, and each country had a representative when he was training there. And that's what they did by following the 3. The first, they knew where they had to go. The vision was very clear. You got to. So these people, when they were nowhere, from nowhere, if they had got to get somewhere, now here in the present, they had to dig deep, go inside themselves, create something different. They stuck around, they paid the price, and the price was not happening all of a sudden. The price got paid over a period of 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 15 years. And what helped them a lot? You know what helped them? The golden spiral. There is an equation in maths, 1:1.618. This is known as the golden equation. Nature creates everything in this golden equation, and whenever nature creates, everything becomes beautiful. The constellations, the galaxies, the snail, the lotus flower, the rose, everything is created in the golden ratio, 1:1.618. And it is said, if anything gets created in the golden ratio, it carries within it great power, because there gets generated a golden spiral energy. To understand the golden spiral, I'll take you to the Himalayas. Every year, birds migrate from India across the Himalayas and on to Russia. Some of the tallest flying birds in the world are a species called the barred-headed goose. You know how high they can fly? An average height they fly is 29,000 feet, which is the height of Mount Everest, 8,848 meters. They fly above Mount Everest, and at that height, they're flying at a speed of 100 kilometers an hour. On the Himalayas, there are many pockets which are created in this ratio, 1:1.618. There are many formations naturally created, and when those formations are there on the Himalayas, they generate the terrific golden spiral energy. And when a bird is flying above this golden spiral on the Himalayas, the goose, the barred-headed goose, what happens to it? You know, some of you would be thinking, that's the Bermuda Triangle stuff, birds would get sucked down. The vortex doesn't suck the bird down. The other part happens, the opposite happens. When they are flying over the golden spiral, they get catapulted above. From 29,000 feet, they go to 59,000 feet and fly at a speed of 150 plus kilometers an hour. And it is known the barred-headed goose can cover distances up to 5,000 kilometers in 24 straight hours. They created this golden spiral within their own lives. All these 3 examples had the golden spiral energy. And you know what was the golden spiral energy for them? What was their golden spiral? It was the organization called the Junior Chamber International, because folks, these three people aren't somebody else that you would not know beyond today. These three people are all in one, and that was me. I was chucked out of the college. I was thrown because I was an Indian, and in Goa, I was thrown out of the hotel with my wife because they thought I'm there to copy. Follow JCI, follow Golden Spiral. You have your way done. You have a light absolutely lit. From nowhere to now here, get the Golden Spiral. JCI is your Golden Spiral. Thank you so much, folks. Have a wonderful evening.